Question: how do you reconcile? And I agree that our legislation. Is this a problem?
Yeah, it is a problem.
And you are?
I'm Carolyn Jackson with the ACLU, and I don't like having.
Thank you, Carol. Would you please leave? Legislation. Legislation. Is this a problem?
Yeah, it is a problem.
And you are?
I'm Carolyn Jackson with the ACLU, and I don't like having.
Thank you, Carol. Would you please leave?
There's a couple of questions related to vouching. How does the vouching system work? If I vouch for 15 people in my precinct, what prevents those same 15 from being vouched for by my friend in the precinct next door? How are duplicate, I gather, duplicate voters, people voting in multiple locations? Watch.
Well, first of all, we don't have any evidence that that is occurring. Secondly,
there's plenty of evidence. Come on.
Everyone who vouches for someone else must be a registered voter in the precinct in which they're vouching themselves and must know the person for whom they're vouching. And they also sign an oath that would, if they make a false statement about that, would subject them to prosecution for a felony. You know, a felony is a serious matter, and once you have a felony on your record, your life is changed.
But how are they caught? How are they caught if that happens on that voter on that day of the election?
Well, things like that are looked into after the election, and there's a postal verification card sent, and
this week. Yeah.
Well, think about the disincentive to do that. I mean, it's a very high price to pay to do something like that and be prosecuted for it.
At the average fine yeah, we're playing by certain rules here. I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to ask as many questions as we can. You know, I've asked some questions that are clearly challenging the league's position. We're not screening your questions out, so please let's.
I would like to make a comment about vouching, same-day registration. Back in the year that Wellstone was elected to the United States Congress, I was a poll watcher in the 10th Ward. And during that time, I was there from early afternoon till the polls closed. I observed a person out in the front of the polling place wearing a very large, plain, green, Wellstone green button. And all through the day, vehicles would come in, some of them large vehicles, vans and the like, loaded with people. 6, 8 people would come out of these vans. These people were instructed to find the person with the green button, and that person would be their vouch person. That person would then come in with these folks that unloaded, and I'm speaking from my own viewing of this. This is not some anecdote. And that person would vouch for all those people to register on the spot and vote. Hundreds of people came through the polls that day that I saw, and it's a little difficult for me to think that that vouch person really knew that their names, really knew their addresses, where they lived, their age, whether they were legal voters or anything else.
The voter registration system is our best insurance that is not happening. And if it is happening, then we have prosecution, we have investigation and prosecution afterwards. And the other thing we have to remember is that we don't have any evidence that this is happening. If we did, that would be another issue. But there is a lot of fear-mongering going on that is not borne out by documented investigations or prosecutions or convictions.
How do you document something you don't document?
These questions here relate to what's called the PVC card. The postal verification card.
Right.
It says, why didn't the video address the 5,000 to 10,000 postal verification cards that were undeliverable after the 2008 election?
Well, I don't know that there were 5,000 or 10,000 postal verification cards that were undeliverable after the 2008 election to begin with. But here's what postal verification cards are for. After a person is registered, then a card is sent, a non-forwardable card is sent to confirm an address. It does not confirm an identity of the person. And
wouldn't voter ID solve or control for the problem of a person going, a non-voter, a person who doesn't have a right to vote, going to vote impersonating or giving a voting in place of a person who has died? Wouldn't voter ID prevent that?
well, we have the best prevention of that, which was that our databases are compared with each other and those people are removed. And so we don't have a database that's carrying a lot of people who are really not going to be voting anymore. And we take, the system takes them out so that we don't have to worry about having IDs for everyone eligible to vote. There's a better way to solve that problem, and we're doing it. Well, I don't know what state leads the nation in voter fraud prosecutions, and I would say that we have very few. When you consider them as a percentage of the number of voters, you know that almost 3 million people voted in the last presidential election. Create barriers for many eligible voters to vote. Secondly, it is unnecessary. Third, it's going to be very costly. And finally, it does not belong in our state's constitution. The legislation that the governor vetoed would have given Minnesota one of the most extreme and restrictive voting laws in the country.
True.
And his veto message included the comment that there was, this would cause very great expense to local governments, that it was not supported by a bipartisan group at all. It was a party line vote.
Question: how do you reconcile? And I agree that our legislation. Is this a problem?
Yeah, it is a problem.
And you are?
I'm Carolyn Jackson with the ACLU, and I don't like having
Thank you,
the
Carol.
video.
Would you please leave?